Jen's daughter. Hello, everybody. I won't do it now, but I promised since the day one as governor that whenever I'm in a library, I would tell my son Charlie Murphy's favorite library joke, which I will do before I leave. I want to thank Jen for sharing your story with us, especially your precious young lady, and know that we're with her. And you listen to somebody like Jen, and if there was ever any doubt that New Jersey has the best educators in the world, we just saw great evidence of that. It is great for me to be back in the Brick City. I haven't been here in a couple of weeks, celebrating one of my favorite initiatives, and to be in one of my favorite places, as I mentioned, a library. When young people ask me for advice, one of the things I always tell them is read. And I've not always taken this advice to heart, I have to say. But now I have a habit that I've not broken in many years. Hello, Ileana. And that is, I always have a book. I always have a book in my bag. And sometimes it goes several days till I get to it. I read a bunch of newspapers every day, or one thing leads to another. If you like show business, the book I have, by the way, I'm a sucker for nonfiction, is a book called Miss May Does Not Exist, which is a biography of the comic genius Elaine May. It might sound like simple advice, and Jen alluded to this, but any teacher will tell you that books open up new worlds. They can lead us to new passions and knowledge, and they help us to uncover a deeper empathy for our neighbors. The bills that I will be signing in a few moments will help a new generation discover those joys, as well as the unlimited opportunities that reading unlocks. And this victory would not, let me just say unequivocally, this victory would not have been possible without the partnership of the woman who I was just sitting next to, Senate Majority Leader Teresa Ruiz. In my State of the State earlier this year, in that address, I made it clear that improving literacy rates among young learners in New Jersey was a major priority of mine, and wouldn't you know it, just when I said that, Senator Ruiz jumped to her feet, and she came to the table more than just jumping to her feet, ready to work. And today's bills are the result of a deeply collaborative process between our team on the one hand and Senator Ruiz's on the other, helping us to make our initial proposals much stronger so that every school and student can have their needs met. I have signed thousands of bills at this point, and far and away the best bills are the ones I can't sign bills without legislators voting them to get to my desk, number one, but number two, the best bills are the ones that we work on from the first moment, and this is as good an example as any. I know we'll be joined in a few moments by the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin. We wouldn't be here without Craig. I want to acknowledge also Carmen Morales and Ileana Pintor-Marin, who are both here representing the Assembly. They are in the room. Let's give them a round of applause. We have the Commissioner of the Department of Education, Kevin Damer, is with us. Kevin, great to have you, buddy. Roger Leone, the Superintendent here in the Brick City. Thank you for hosting us, Roger, as always. Principal Amy Panich is with us. Amy, thank you for hosting us so graciously. I said to her, as I do to all principals when I meet them, I do what you tell me to do, and I will behave in this place. And I want to thank every educator here at Park Elementary, all the staff members, especially the young students who are with us today. And for that, the bow tie is particularly rocking me. I just want you to know that. And all the educators and staff members from around the state of New Jersey who work day in and day out to support and uplift our state's children. And thanks to all of you, it is no surprise that New Jersey is home to the best public education system in the United States of America. But maintaining that reputation means we can never rest. We need to continue investing in every aspect of our education system. And that requires acknowledging that while we are ahead of many other states in literacy, any New Jersey student being unable to read at grade level is completely and utterly unacceptable. Lacking literacy skills, creates an opportunity gap for our young people, harming their ability to learn, to continue their education, and to get good paying jobs ultimately. And this opportunity gap does not just have consequences for the individuals who are stuck in it, it has consequences for all of us, because our young people are our future, and we all have a stake in their success. I applaud Roger and Amy and other leaders in this city, especially want to acknowledge Mayor Raz Baraka for their efforts to improve literacy in our state's largest school district. And we're focused today and every day on making sure that all of our educators do not have to do it alone. So with this legislative package we're signing into law today, we will make sure that every pre-K and elementary educator, as well as other key school staff members that students interact with and trust, receives high-quality professional development on best practices in literacy instruction. We're also establishing universal screening of K through third grade students twice a year to help ensure every child's unique needs are met. And we are providing more than $5 million in state funding to New Jersey school districts to help them meet this requirement and deploy high-quality literacy screeners. This legislation will also create a new Office of Learning, Equity, and Academic Recovery. Doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue, but boy, I love it. I love that. That'll be housed at the Department of Education, and this will be an office that will serve a critical role in coordinating literacy efforts across our state government and school districts to help us raise literacy rates as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Because when it comes to overcoming barriers to literacy, we do not have time to waste. And this is not the only way that we are investing in our schools and students. Across the state, we're listening to parents, educators, and students and responding to the concerns they raise with, I believe, effective policy solutions, working hand in glove at every step of the way with our legislative partners and leaders. Parents, for instance, asked for child care support so they could go to work and provide for their families. So we help thousands more of our state's children enroll in free, high-quality pre-K programs. Educators, bless them, worried young minds were struggling to learn because they were going to school hungry. So we expanded access to free and nutritious school breakfasts and lunches for thousands of New Jersey school children. And then, if that weren't enough, we expanded it again. He's not here yet, but I want to give a huge shout out to Speaker Craig Coughlin for helping spearhead that effort. Students asked us to help them get the college degree they have the brains and the drive to earn, but could not afford. So we ensured more New Jersey students than ever before could graduate debt-free. Speaking of the Speaker of the General Assembly, let's hear it for Craig Coughlin. Please, if someone could whisper in Craig's ear and confirm that I just said very nice things about him. So from pre-K through elementary school, from high school through college, and even beyond, our administration, again, working every step of the way with our great legislative partners, our administration is dedicated to ensuring our children have the skills and support that will set them up for lifelong success. But nothing is possible without investing in literacy, because literacy is the tool that unlocks every single one of the opportunities that education creates for our students. That is why together we are giving young learners the literacy support they need, so the only limit that exists for them is how big they can dream. And if our students need some help with that, it is a good thing our schools have state-of-the-art libraries like this one, because every one of these books holds a dream just waiting to be discovered. And with that, again, thank you so much for having me this morning. It is my honor now to introduce the Majority Leader, Newark's own Senator Teresa Ruiz.
It's still morning, right? Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Welcome to the greatest city. I'm sorry, speaker, but welcome to the greatest city in the Garden State and to the place that I call home and our backyard right here in the North Ward. And I just want to kind of go off course for a little bit because I want to thank the governor for a couple of things. First, obviously, for recognizing the collective consciousness that worked on this endeavor, to getting it on your desk, and to having this bill signing so immediately. But some of our students, even though they go to schools in different places, the money that you've made in your investments through Green Acres and Branch Brook Park, which nestles this school on this area to our right over here, has children play from across wards, from across different schools. So funny story this morning, there's a young student here, her name is Kennedy. She and Silver played baseball and they were champs. They had an amazing a season this year. So I'm talking to her, she's not recognizing me. I said, Kennedy, you don't recognize me. And then I said, I'm Silver's mom. And she was like, oh yeah, I get it. So in different places, I'm not the majority leader, I'm Silver's mom. Nestled in between here and the school are train tracks that you and the administration, along with the legislature, has had the vision to protect and preserve, and will be the greatest open space park line that we have that will rival any spot in New York City, and that's because of the work of Governor Murphy. I say this collectively to bring all this up because success is not going to solely happen in a school building. It requires every single person who is here. And I will tell you that I've never worked on a piece of legislation that so seamlessly went from thought to bills to conversations to getting it posted in committee and to getting here to today. And that doesn't happen by itself. So I have to do this real quick. Thank all of the work group members that were on the committee, New Jersey Association of School Administrators, New Jersey Children's Foundation, New Jersey School Boards Association, New Jersey Principals and Supervisors, Garden State Coalition, New Jersey, the NJEA, New Jersey Public Charter Schools, Jersey CAN, New Jersey Teachers of English to Speak of Other Languages, American Federation of Teachers, who represents us here in the city, New Jersey Association of School Librarians, the Speech Language Hearing Association, Decoding Dyslexia New Jersey, SPAN, the Parent Advocacy Network, and my staffers, Ashleen and Erica, who are here, and to the partnership of the department. And this is a pitch to any new person who may take the helm of becoming governor of the state of New Jersey. We have a team in place currently at the Department of Education. I don't know anything about sports, but they say that when you get a new coach in place, you have to give them at least 3 years to move the mark and see growth. We have the right team in place, and I hope that they get an opportunity, despite who's in office, to continue threading the needle and moving forward our children. And we're going to hear some, and you will never have heard that from me ever before. And all the association groups are like, is she really applauding the Department of Education? Yes, it's happening here at this very moment, because I believe that we now have a collective that recognizes what's at stake. Learning loss, for many of us who represent zip codes like the homes that we live in, have consistently known what the achievement gap and learning loss are. But it is something that became more modern and more common phrase when the pandemic hit. Children were learning from home, and then in zip codes where perhaps they had never seen kind of this loss in activity, they started to recognize that when children are not in high quality settings with the right resources, that inevitably there is loss in their learning. And so it became this touch point during the pandemic. And I quietly raised my hand and said, I'm glad that everyone's on board, but you do realize that New Jersey has been in this pervasive and long-growing achievement gap that severely impacts the children in my neighborhoods. And why is that? Multifold. If you're living in a household where English is not the first language, if you're living in a household where perhaps you don't have an educated workforce, if you're living in a household where the head of the house is just surviving to make ends meet, all of that has impact to the student growth outcomes. In this school building, I want to thank Amy, the principal, and the school board members who are here, and of course, our superintendent, and give a shout out to Ms. Estevez, who I know when she walked into the building today, she almost cried when I asked her, did you feel a pang in your heart? Because for over a decade, she was the principal here, and now your title is? Right, and a major focus on literacy. So congratulations to you, congratulations to Amy. You know, data is clear. You look at the numbers in the state of New Jersey, 3rd and 4th graders, more than half of the general population are not meeting grade expectations in reading. And what does that mean? I always say this all the time, and my friends are tired from hearing it. From birth to 3rd grade, you are learning to read. Everything you're learning to read. Learning the alphabet, phonics, putting words together, association. From 3rd grade and beyond, you are reading to learn. And what does that mean? In 3rd grade, if you don't have a level set foundation that you are equipped to move on, your academic outcomes will be forever impacted with obstacles that were not necessarily akin to you and your fault. This is a truth and a fact. New Jersey today is accepting that. Not because we're alone in this space. This is a national thing that impacts every single state. And yes, we have the moniker of having #1 public schools in the country, and the governor knows because I say this every single time, but it is not truth for every single child that sits here in my neighborhoods, for every single school that can call that a banner, for every single family that can say my child goes to a #1 school in the country. And so I think today we are having kind of this coming to terms, realizing who we are in New Jersey. And it is not to call out anyone in these spaces, but it's to acknowledge truth and to lend power through that in policy that we will be signing today. Creating an office that is going to mitigate achievement loss, which will forever in perpetuity exist to some level because we all learn in different ways. Each of us hears things differently, but if we recognize that we have a consistent pressing issue and that we have generations of 3rd graders that are not reading at grade level and that we don't do something to shift course, we are complicit in that. And if you thought COVID was the pandemic, let me tell you what's at stake to face us. Generations of people who will not be employed. Generations of people who will not be able to improve the quality of life for their next, which is solely what anybody wants in this country, is just to give better to the next generation than what they had in opportunities. The data is super clear. Median earnings rise from $35,000 for those without a high school diploma to $66,000 for those with a bachelor's degree. Entirely different. And this is not advocating that everybody has to go to a higher ed space, but it lends itself to recognizing that if you're prepared and you're qualified and you get licensed in some space, your earnings grow exponentially. That only happens if you're capable of reading. Reading is fundamental for those of I gave my age away, right? I totally gave my age away with that line. But it is critical to the success and cornerstone of every single New Jerseyan that calls the Garden State home. That yes, we are all on the equal playing field if we all start on the starting line the same. I whispered in the governor's because, and the speaker will agree that any opportunity I get to lobby for policy that moves our students forward, I use it in any space. He said, what a beautiful building. I said, it sure is. It was one of the last ones we built. We got to talk about school construction in the state of New Jersey and move forward. Because if we don't have adequate spaces for learning labs and for academic use, if we don't build in more time into our school days to impact the learning loss, and these are uncomfortable conversations to have across the board, there is not enough time on task to move our kids forward. That's just the basic truth. So all of us have to dive in. I have a rising 3rd grader who's already started school. 30 minutes every day she has to read and log it in and answer a series of questions. And then in the nighttime, as tired as I am, we're reading What are we reading now? Wonka together, because it's a little longer, it's a little bigger, so we're reading it together, and I get exhausted. And like the governor, my reading skills were deplorable. I was never taught how important it was. I was successful in college because I failed pretty much my first year and then figured out how to survive subsequently. No kid should have to go through that. Everyone should be afforded an opportunity to recognize reading is a skill set that can be taught, learned, encouraged, celebrated, supported, and you see the benefit of all coming to its fruition. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the speaker, who after we collectively worked on this, and specifically to his staff, Dan, who the speaker recognizes that the only way we're going to be successful is to be sure that we're empowering our families. Today's set of policy agenda empowers our families because it makes every single one of these students grow in their knowledge and power and gives them an opportunity. I have dry mouth, right? I live here like you. Some of you look like me. When you say you're from Newark, people have expectations of who we are. But you get a solid education and you flip that script in any conference room that you're in, you show them what Newark is really about. And that's what we're doing here today. So I'm excited, and I'm also emotional, because, you know, when we talk about kids, that's my life. Last week, I'm a mess. Last week, on Monday, we were in a working group with the Department of Education, and we're figuring out collectively again how we're going to look to an evaluation process. But I didn't realize it was the anniversary of the signing of Teach NJ over a decade ago. That's how long I've been serving here. But there's still so much work to be done. So for those who think I'm a pain in the, I'm still going to be there. For the advocates who think that I'm on your side, I'm still going to be there. For all of the people who worked on this bill who we normally do not agree on everything all of the time, let's keep this momentum going, because the people who win are our kids. Thank you.
I've had the great honor of listening to Teresa speak literally countless occasions, and she's awesome every time, but I just said she's never been better than today. We'll hear it one more time. Great leadership in the Senate, and we had great leadership in the Assembly. There are 3 of its members here, and speaking on behalf of them and their colleagues, please help me welcome another great leader, the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin.
Thank you, Governor, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. What a beautiful place, Senator. You talked to the governor about or the governor said what a terrific place this is. It really is welcoming, inviting, friendly. I can't imagine that it's not a terrific place to learn and a special place to come and read. And reading, as we're here to talk about, and as I think everybody here understands, is probably the most important thing you ever learn to do in your life. It really is. It makes this such a difference. It opens all of the doors. It prevents you, if you don't, from all the success that you're capable of. And so today is a really, really special day. Thank you, Governor, for the kind remarks I didn't hear. I'm happy to hear. We're all happy to stick around again if you want to repeat them. That's fine. Senator, or Majority Leader, thank you for those kind remarks. And all of us should be really, today is historic. It is really an historic day. In the entire time I've known her in service in the legislature, I've never heard Senator Majority Leader Ruiz say nice things about the Department of Education. And so today is really historic. We don't write this day down, but well-deserved. Because we all know that there is no investment that we can make that is more important than education. And so I'm proud of the record investment that we have made over the course of the time that I've had the privilege of serving with the Majority Leader, with my friend Ileana Pinto-Moren, the Budget Chair who is here with us today, and Assemblywoman Morales, who is here and a leader and just doing a fantastic job. We've invested more in education than ever in history, and that speaks to the commitment that we're all willing to make. The governor's been a marvelous leader. I've had the privilege of being with him throughout his entire tenure. He's the only governor I've been the speaker for. I'm probably the only speaker I am the only speaker he ever had. And so, you know, those record investments in education and our partnership with educators and local school boards and staff help set the priorities and meet our obligations. It's no accident. It is no accident that New Jersey consistently ranks among the best public education systems in the world. It's something we should embrace and be proud of. We invest heavily in it at the state level. We invest heavily in it at the local level. All you need to do is mention the word property taxes, and you'll understand what that means. But the truth of the matter is it's a really good investment, right? Good schools are a good investment because what do young parents look for when they're looking for a home? A good school system. Right? It makes us better, and we should be awfully proud of that investment we make and the success that we had. And to the majority leader's point, that it doesn't necessarily mean every person has the best education that they have in the country. That doesn't mean we shouldn't be proud of what we have achieved, and doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue to work. And we're doing that just right now. You know, it's easy to understand why we have such success. We have the best trained teachers. We have the most dedicated professionals and teachers. And when they're given the resources that they need to serve students, they open up a world of possibilities for everybody. And building equity in education is not only our duty, it's also a really smart investment, because when any child succeeds, all of us succeed. We're all in this together. We need to make sure the kids have the chance to succeed. There's nothing more essential than the success in literacy and building those foundations that the majority leader referenced at an early age. That's where it all begins. If kids fall behind in elementary schools, the repercussions are all throughout their educational process and beyond into life. And the data is clear about that. And I want to commend my colleagues in the legislature for their work on this and listening and working with advocates and experts in the field to craft the bills that the governor is going to sign today. That'll help teachers and counselors and support staff to provide the resources that the children so desperately deserve. The list of Assembly people and senators who are on these bills reads like an all-star team of education experts, and I'm so privileged to be smart enough to say, yeah, let's post that bill. And to listen to them. Senate Majority Leader Ruiz has been an unbelievable advocate. Former teacher herself, thank you for being a champion of this bill and so many others. And I want to commend Assemblywoman Morales, who's the prime on our side, who's already in her very first term, just in a few months, really, seeing bills, doing something really important like this and having an impact and seeing these bills signed. Let's give her a big round of applause. I think this may be your first bill signed into law. So this is really a historic day on more than one phrase. I also want to take a second to thank the budget chair, a Newarker at every level. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Just saw you. See you in Chicago. So Eliana is as so much a champion as you can imagine for education for kids and for doing that. And I'm welcome her to be here today. And I want to say nice things about it. I don't see her now. The education chair, Pam Lampett, who's been with us for 20 years in the legislature, and she has all of the best qualities: curiosity, tenacity, and the ability to build coalitions to get things done. And that's what happens here today. So it is a special day in a beautiful place, and with all the hope and expectation that it brings. It's another step in doing everything we can for the kids in our community, and another investment that will pay dividends for all of us in the future. So thank you all for coming out today. It's a privilege to be with you. Thanks very much.
Craig, thank you so much for those great words, for your leadership, and great to be with you. And we will replay my very positive remarks on C-SPAN at 8 o'clock tonight. Thank you, pal. Last but not least, he's a guy that I've worked with for many years. He was the acting commissioner during the throes and toughest days of COVID. I'm honored to say that he's back leading the Department of Education. Please help me welcome its Commissioner, Kevin Damer.
Good morning, everyone. It's truly an honor to be joining the governor and the majority leader, Speaker Coughlin, up here on the dais today. And of course, Assemblywoman Pinter-Marin and Morales, thank you for all of your work on this. And everyone else here, all the educators, the educator stakeholders that had input into this. We are here because of all that valuable input and help along the way. So thank you very much for that. And I especially appreciate your expertise, time, and dedication that it took on this issue. It's of the utmost importance. But I want to turn back and call out especially Majority Leader Ruiz. Thank you so much for the kind words, and the department agrees. Like, we worked so collaboratively on this, among many other things, and so really the recognition is to you and that collaboration that we did together to get to today. I'm confident that the measures that will be signed here today will go a long way to improve literacy, learning equity, and academic recovery. The legislation provides meaningful advancement in our schools' literacy instruction programs, and for the first time, the state is guaranteeing that every one of our youngest learners will be screened for reading proficiency using a high-quality screening tool, and then to make sure that we get that information back to the parents quickly so they know how well their student is doing. Through these measures, we're supporting a coordinated statewide effort to make sure that districts get the tools they need, training to our educators, and make sure that's implemented with fidelity, and driving support to the students that need it the most. To ensure that we in the department have the capacity and the agility to do what we need to do to support districts and our students, we're creating a new office called Learning Equity and Academic Recovery. It is a mouthful, we'll get used to it, but it's important, the work that we're doing, and that's focusing on student literacy. The scale and importance of these reforms is a simple truth. Literacy is a gateway to all learning. Majority Leader said it perfectly. When kids come into an elementary school just like this one, they learn to read. As they progress, they read to learn. That fundamental principle has driven many of the department's existing programs, some of which include the high-impact tutoring program that we've been running over the last year. More than 35,000 students across hundreds of districts have benefited from that. In the fall of last year, the department rolled out 2 teacher training programs. We call them Rapid and Rapid Plus. We couldn't come up with a better name for the second one, so we just added a plus. But the reality is it's a critical training program for K-3 and then 4 to 6 teachers to make sure that they have the tools on the new literacy instruction methods that we include phonics and et cetera, that are so critical to our students today. So far, to date, 2,300 educators have benefited from that training programs, and that serves as a foundation for the work that will continue because of the legislation being signed today. Excuse me. Last year, the New Jersey State Board of Education signed the latest iteration of the Student Learning Standards for English Language Arts, and just this fall, this upcoming school year, those will be put into place, taking into account a lot that we've learned with emphasizing phonics and other literacy skills that are so critical at the early ages. We've updated our state regulations to ensure that teacher certification requirements are increased for literacy. Across all of our institutions of higher education that run a teacher preparation program, they now include literacy across and within all different types of content areas. Just yesterday, we announced the results of 2 years of collaboration with Rutgers University, and that highlights high success schools and programs that have been run in our public schools so that we can learn from them and share out so that other programs that other schools in our state can learn from them. Very soon, we're going to be putting out a comprehensive report and a website to share out those tools to make them more widely available so they can be implemented across the state and not just in these exemplary schools where they are today. To guide and amplify these efforts, in addition to the bill the governor is signing today and creating the Office of Equity and Academic Recovery, I'm excited today to announce that we'll be partnering with Kean University to increase the department's capacity with student literacy and learning loss. And to help structure this new office, we will undertake initiatives to address critical elementary literacy and learning acceleration challenges across the state. So thank you to former Commissioner of Education, and current president of Kean University, Dr. Lamont Repillette, as well as another former commissioner, Kimberly Marcus, for joining in this partnership to help with this work. Taken together, these new initiatives present a seismic shift in what we're doing for literacy across the state. But this is not a one and done. We've recently applied for $50 million in a federal grant that will provide 5 years worth of statewide initiatives to continue and expand upon this work. And we look forward to building that out over the next few years. So today, we take this important step with the hopes of improving foundational literacy for our students and accelerating the post-COVID academic recovery, and closing those persistent achievement gaps through the development of this permanent office that will always be focused on it. So I'll end with a final thank you to the governor and the majority leader and all the partners here today for making this a possibility. Thank you all very much.
Kevin, to you and your colleagues who are both here today and who are not here but were part of this, deep, deep thanks for everything you do, including specifically to get us to this historic moment. And I don't use the word historic lightly. We sign a lot of bills come our way, and hopefully every one of them has an impact that's a positive one. But it is very rare that you get one that is transformational. Never mind one, but two bills that I'm about to sign. So to Team Park, thank you for hosting us so graciously. To the extraordinary folks here, the advocates, the folks lead associations, the educators, all of you, but most especially these blessed kids who are with us today. This one's for you. And if you see my son Charlie, please make sure you tell him I told the joke. So a young man walks into a library, walks up to the librarian and says, "I'll have a quarter pounder with cheese, a large Coke, and a medium fry." And the librarian says, "Young man, this is a library." And the kid says, "Oh, sorry, I'll have a quarter pounder with..." Come on down, let's sign this thing.